energy of Supreme. Supreme is like that girl, everybody want her, and she might give you her number, give you some play, might give you some pussy. She don't call you, you know what I'm saying? Like, she don't pick up the phone, like, you're like, oh, I thought you liked me. And it's like, nah, I really wasn't that into you.
Since opening in 1994, Supreme has been the most desired clothing brand for anyone involved in streetwear. From the jump, the brand has kept its inventory limited, releasing its product in small, exclusive runs. With a limited supply and an insane demand, Supreme is the most resellable clothing brand in the world, period.
I think the only brand that has anything on Supreme is obviously Nike.
So how long have you been waiting?
Like 14 hours.
Since like 9 p.m. last night.
I came here yesterday, 7 o'clock.
I'm buying everything because I'm a hypebeast, you know?
If you don't know that this is how it is, then you haven't been here before.
You just gotta get it, you have to.
And you could even like trade Supreme for like weed and stuff.
I think the brand is so fucking powerful that it's making me buy a fucking crowbar.
Today, resellers have shifted the playing field. The way people get their hands on Supreme is no longer limited to buying straight from the brand. That doesn't necessarily mean that consumers are in a better position than before. Buyers have more options of where to buy Supreme, but these middlemen charge a serious markup. Do you like waiting in line or no?
But I don't want to pay resale.
So you're a reseller?
Yeah.
And how much stuff did you pick up?
3 sets of everything.
Yo, there are people that like make their fucking living off of this.
You know, if you wanted it that bad, you'd have been here before me. It's not for everyone. Everyone can try to be a reseller, but not everyone's going to be a reseller.
It's difficult for anyone to put into words what makes Supreme so desirable, but it has, without a doubt, transcended its skateboarding roots and become the standard of contemporary cool.
For any other streetwear brand, you've never seen Facebook groups, Instagram posts, Reddit threads.
We need Supreme.
Everything sells out as soon as it drops.
These fucked up resellers will fuck up the market.
The shit dog eat dog.
Supreme is like the guy that doesn't say anything, and when he opens his mouth and says one word, it's the coolest shit you ever fucking heard.
When people think of Supreme today, they think of this kind of big streetwear brand that kind of like sets the bar within that world. But originally, the store opened up as like more of a traditional skate shop on Lafayette Street in New York, selling a lot of like hard goods for skating.
Before founding Supreme, James Jebbia opened Union, a legendary New York skate shop. He then helped open the first New York location for notable streetwear brand Stussy in 1991. 3 years later, Supreme was born.
Streetwear back in the mid to late 90s is not the streetwear we know today. It hadn't been commercialized, it hadn't been widespread.
Supreme is obviously a melting pot of culture. So you'll see things that, whether you were born in the 90s or the 80s, or whether you were born in the 2000s, things that are reminiscent of special moments for you when you were growing up. And I think that's why they've captured such a huge audience.
Essentially, it sounds weird to say this, but I think Supreme just has great taste. They live outside the world of trends. I mean, I think they make their own trends.
The original Supreme team and the first group of kids that were working at the shop, there was like a core group of 50 or 60 kids that were true skate kids. They kind of helped shape the brand as like for skaters, by skaters, with the skateboarding stuff in their DNA. As the visibility of the brand has grown globally and even here in the United States, and now that celebrities wear it and it's like this very kind of hyped up thing, I don't think necessarily skateboarders are that market anymore. It's kind of moved beyond that scope of just for skateboarders.
Supreme's greatest value and its greatest asset is restraint. I think there's a lot of things they could have done, you know, very early on, and probably could have blown it up and become, you know, really mass.
And even though now that more people want Supreme than ever before, they've always kind of kept supply very much controlled and have never released a ton of pieces. So that has, just based on general economics, you know, the demand has gone up, the supply has stayed relatively the same, now manifests itself as this kind of overblown hype that creates a secondary market and this kind of feeding frenzy when Supreme is releasing new stuff.
I mean, James Jebbia has always said something along the lines of, even if he knows he could sell 500, he's still only gonna make 300.
As an outsider, you might feel like that doesn't make sense, but I feel that another thing that Supreme has done well is like, they just don't give a shit.
The thing that Supreme does different is that when something sells well, they never make it again. As opposed to other brands where if a model of clothes sells really well, they will continue making it until it dies out. Supreme, if something hits hits off the fan, it's a blow up that will never make it again in order for it to become hype. And that's what essentially makes the hype of Supreme.
Producing things in large quantities is kind of a thing that is old hat and of the past, and I think a lot of businesses are starting to catch up to their business model, because when you make things in smaller quantities, of course, it makes it more special, it makes people want to have it even more, and the people that do get it, it brings up the value of those things.
A lot of people will try to use limited edition as a selling point and as a marketing gimmick, where it's like, oh, you know, there's only one of X amount. For Supreme, it's just, that's how everything is. If you don't get something on the day it comes out, you might not ever get the chance to get it again.
You have other skate companies like a Thrasher or Vans or, you know, any of these other skate companies that pop up and do have longevity, and Quicksilver, all these things that were great brands. You know, DC, they do great shit. But you can buy that shit anywhere. Within a 10-mile radius of here, there's 15 stores that sell that shit. Whereas Supreme, you know, you can only get it here. You know, you can't go to Marshall's, you can't go to Kmart. That's what makes it different than everywhere else. Supreme only sells Supreme.
North America is home to just 2 Supreme stores. Unless you can line up in Los Angeles or New York, buying from a reseller is pretty much the only way to get your hands on Supreme. The international demand for the brand has skyrocketed, but like in the States, the shopping options are extremely limited. Europe has just 1 store in London. Asia has by far the largest demand and the most stores. Japan is home to all 6 of the continent's stores, with 3 located in Tokyo alone.
What I have heard from folks that have access to the inside is that they're very hesitant to open more doors, simply because they're unsure if they'll actually work within certain markets. I believe the truth to be is you can put a Supreme store in the middle of anywhere. You can put a Supreme store in Nebraska and kids will get there. The demand is that high for Supreme.
It's funny observing the frenzy that goes on at Supreme. I mean, not too many stores close for a while, you know, but, you know, every seasonal transition they, you know, put paper in the windows and, you know, restock, and it's like really anticipated by their fans and their collectors and resellers or whatever you call them.
And it's a really interesting thing you'll see in conversations and like message boards and on Reddit, like, you know, is Supreme just a hype brand? And I guess it's all about who's wearing it. You could have somebody that doesn't know anything about the brand that is willing to wait in line or pay double for it just so that they can be a part of it. But there's also people that really just love the brand, love the quality, and love the way the clothes look on them, and are not really interested in making so much of a statement as staying consistent to their style.
I don't think resellers are necessarily a good or a bad thing, but they are a byproduct of a culture fueled by the need to sort of have one thing that not necessarily everybody else has, and also wanting to like flex on other people because you have something that they don't necessarily have or can't get. And that sort of helps create the cachet of where Supreme is at today.
What is so special about this job?
The money you're about to make. Like,
Are you reselling?
hell yeah, what the fuck? Do I look like a herb right now?
The resale prices of rare Supreme products can be jacked up as high as 1,200% above the original cost. Supreme's graphic tees usually run you between $36 to $44. But items like the Supreme Japan Snakeskin Box logo tee will resell for as much as $550. The Kermit the Frog tee, $600. Are you reselling any of them?
Oh yeah, I got 3 people online. This is for me. The first set is for me. I go in for me. But I got 3 kids online that I pay to come out here, and all that's for the resale. That's for y'all, so you know.
How much are you going to resell from this drop?
I've already sold 2 shirts, pre-sold them on eBay for $250 a pop.
And how much retail were they?
$44.
Do you think they're worth that much?
Nowhere near. But I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's worth whatever a fool's willing to pay for it. So, you know.
Back up! Back up! Hey! Fellas, yo, you gotta get inside the car!
New Supreme products always create a massive level of anticipation. But the most hyped release in the brand's history was set for April 4th, 2014, when it collaborated with Nike on the Foamposite 1. Hundreds of people showed up the night before, creating a frenzied crowd that flooded the Soho streets around Supreme's New York shop. The hopeful shoppers caused so much commotion, the NYPD canceled the release.
There was some trouble with the police yesterday, you know, when the main crowd was out here. The police sprayed a little bit of pepper spray and they kind of pushed and shoved a bit.
Technically, the line starts on Thursday morning, but fans who have for Supreme, they start whenever they want.
I can't even just like put into words like how the block was, yo. Like it was like a stage almost. Like it was like literally like, yeah, we coming in.
people started panicking.
Chaos.
I felt like niggas was hiding under cars and shit. Like, the shit was crazy.
A couple people fist fought in the line, we had to throw them out, break it up. That happened twice, 2 girls fighting.
All right, I'm gonna come clean. I stepped on 2 people on some real shit. I'm coming clean. I trampled 2 people.
This event is officially canceled. They haven't given a future date. There is no reason for you to be staying around here.
No, that's where I would say Supreme made a turning point towards complete resell, and value on everything really went up.
When I was coming up, it was all about the hunt and trying to find product, getting your hands on it. You know, and that required a lot of effort. That required visiting shops in certain cities around the world when you traveled. When we look today, clearly the internet is changed it all. You can simply go online and look up a hashtag for Supreme, and it's very clear that that product is really hitting a much larger, I wouldn't say mainstream, but a much larger, much wider circle than it had in the past.
I think reseller culture is a direct result of brands like Jordan and brands like Supreme making things that everybody wants, but not necessarily everybody can have.
I feel for the little guy in the back of the line that doesn't get what he wants because I have 10 people on the line buying up everything to sell it for more. You know, I feel for the guy that can't afford to buy it for a resale. You know, but at the same time, you know, there's guys all over the world that wouldn't get the item at all if it weren't for reselling.
It's a necessary evil that no one understands.
Now that the internet exists, you know, everything is for sale, like Jay-Z says. And if the website's down or if it's sold out on the website, they can get it somewhere else and they're gonna have to pay a premium for it. But, you know, the premium, who invents the premium? The resellers do.
Supreme is now, without a doubt, the center of its own subculture. But this subculture has seen the rise of a force that, for better or worse, has become a big part of the Supreme world. We are now living in the era of the reseller.
When you're out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, for example, and you're like the 5th person in line, or there's not a lot of people out there, you can expect that in the morning it's not going to be the same.
Most of my selling comes from my Instagram. You know, just people hit me off of Instagram. I post pictures, pre-orders, or post what I have on the back end. And, you know, people will contact me, text me, direct message me, and let me know what they want.